Okay, so we're talking about Traitors, Peacock streaming this reality competition series that nobody saw as getting this big. Season one had a lot of attention. I'm not really like a Survivor. I watch Big Brother, but I don't Survivor and all of those like competition shows. Not really my vibe as much as I like the reality, like Real Housewives or Vanderpump Rules, The Hills, Jersey Shore, that kind of thing. But season one was still good. And all of a sudden, season two has been so big. It's been such a wonderful, giant show that everyone is really into. What I love mostly is that Alan Cumming is not hosting the show. He is taking on a role of a lifetime, it feels like. And his wardrobe and the mansion in Scotland, like everything is lining up for this really great show. So the show got greenlit. Now, casting choices for season three. I did a quick YouTube short, reel, TikTok, whatever you want to call it, throwing out some names. So let's check that out. The audio had to be sped up because you got to get these things done in a minute. But let's take a look at this, and then we'll talk about other ideas of who should be on season 3 of Traitors. So it is definitely official. Peacock Streaming's The Traitors is back for season 3. You know, season 1 definitely made a mark, and season 2 became huge. Season 2 has been really good. So that asks the question for season 3, wishful thinking, who would you want to be casted for season 3?
Let's tap back in and find out what's going on with the Octomom. I think it'd be great to bring back Peppermint. From the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Melissa Gorga on display. And I also think model and entrepreneur Daisy Fuentes would be a good look for the show. TV personality Michelle Visage. Music producer who was on Love and Hip Hop, Stevie J. Coral from The Real World. And if you're doing couples, I think Ali Fedotowsky from The Bachelor and then Kevin Mano from Radio. I think they would be good on a show like this. Boston Rob from Survivor. I think Amrit Kapai from Family Karma would be good. Spencer Pratt from The Hills. Trinity Fatu, which is a world-class athlete. She's a wrestler. And what about Cherie Zampino? You know, of course, was with Will Smith and they have this wonderful relationship. She was also on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
These are just some names that I think would be good for a season 3. Who would you cast? I don't know. I think those are really good ideas. Who of those ideas do you agree with? And there's probably people that I'm missing out on. It's always funny because when you think of one person, you're like, okay, now this person came to my mind when I thought of this person. I am working on a project with a friend of mine, TK is her name, and we do a Total Divas rewatch. Which is how I got the name Trinity, who I think would be good. But also, who's to say one of the Bella twins? I don't know if they go by that name anymore, but one of the Bella twins would be great for this show. And also, again, I don't follow wrestling like that, but I remember, you know, I mentioned Coral of The Real World. You know, it's kind of like, where has she been? I want to see her back on a show, regardless of if it's Traitors. I believe she's a doula now and living her wonderful life. So, you know, who wants to do reality TV when you step away from it? But when I think of Coral, I think of MTV. When I think of MTV, I think of The Real World Back to New York, which was the season 10, I believe. And on that season was Mike The Miz. Now, Mike The Miz's career is probably what it is, so he probably wouldn't be able to do it. But remember when Mike The Miz's wife, they did a reality show of the two of them? I don't know where her career and her life is, but The Miz's wife would be actually a good cast member also for Traitors season 3. Now we're talking about The Hills. I mean, we're not talking about anything. I'm just throwing things out. What do we think about Audrina Patridge coming in? Not that she's the sharpest tool in the shed, but I do feel like the show is so good that you need different types of personalities. And one thing about that is Audrina, as we've seen over the years of her being on the TV, and she hosted that NBC show as well, she's cute and she's nice. And she's fun, not that smart. But in games like this, sometimes those are the ones who find a way to really get across and win. We've seen it before. We've seen the over strategizing types not win, and we've seen the types that were like really just chill. Somehow things are in alignment. And for some weird reason, I think Audrina would be a really wonderful choice. Let's think, who else would we want to put on a season 3 Traitors in a dream world of casting? Who would we add? Now this is a big ask because you don't know where people's lives and careers are going. But can we get somebody in Traitors that's of the era? Because you got to understand, Traitors, the demographic who watches, right? The era of remember when there would be like these Saturday television programming, and it would be like Saved by the Bell, California Dreams, City Guys, Hang 10, I think it was called, or Hang Time. But even like Baywatch. Why not bring one of the Baywatch characters who we've not seen, not characters, but people that we've not seen in a while, even that, to have a career that was so big at one time, and not everyone became huge off that show. While it was happening, it was hot. It was big. But like not everyone became Pamela Anderson or Jason Momoa. Like a lot of them, you know, I'm sure they're counting their pennies. No diss. It's just what it is, you know. So I think bringing in one of those old Baywatch characters, maybe an old California Dreams, you know, actors or actresses, I think would be really good for the show as well. And as I said, I've already like listed a bunch of people, but I think I need to know more of the story. So there was I guess you would say like a podcast team that did really well. Started from Twitter basically, and went to like MTV, went to Complex. Vice is really where things took off, but then even ended up at Showtime. And I'm talking about Desus and Mero, which maybe they're doing enough other projects where they don't need to do this, but I feel like one of them, I would specifically think Desus would really be good for this show. And just, you know, a little bit, not like he needs a career boost, but again, these guys were doing this wonderful big show on Showtime. And based on what we believe is they're not getting along, the show dissolved. And yeah, everyone rebounds. You know, I believe Desus has done like, you know, filled in for Jimmy Kimmel. He's also done The Daily Show, as is Mero is doing a podcast with Carmelo Anthony. So both of them are good. And I think Carmelo and Mero, I think their show is good, and I think that's just, you know, a good show. I don't know that Mero would be the one. I believe Desus would be the one that you'd want to see on season 3 of Traitors. I'm just trying to think out loud who would be interesting, and then yeah, you get more of the story. You get more of the like what really happened between their breakup, because you know, they had a TV show together and now they don't. And lastly, I don't really know if I believe this person would be good for the show, but I believe the time she tried reality TV, it didn't go great. And I imagine, I don't know where her career is at, really. It's like one of these people that should have had a really big career and things that just went a certain way. But sometimes you need extra chances to succeed. And where has she been? What has she been doing? I don't know. I actually don't know. So if you watch the OC, you loved the star of the show was supposed to be Misha Barton, and it didn't go that way. Misha Barton, all those years later, after she went through a handful of things, you know, tabloid stuff or whatever. I mean, obviously her and Perez Hilton very much didn't get along publicly or whatever. But Misha Barton did try a return, and she did reality TV. She was on the new version of The Hills, but I don't think it really went that well. There's something that needs to happen for her career, and maybe Traitors season 3 is it. I don't see her as so much of like this fighter and this big competitive person, but again, you never know. And lastly, just because we're throwing out a bunch of names, I gotta throw out, is it Ryan or Brian Dunkelman? The comedian that was, I guess he's a comedian, but the guy who was the second host of the original idea of American Idol next to Ryan Seacrest. He only got the one season. And all these years later, what does that look like? You know, and I'm sure he's talked about it to ad nauseum, but like, I think, what if is it Ryan or Brian? It's got to be Brian. Brian Dunkelman. What if he was the real superstar? And what if Ryan Seacrest just snatched up that opportunity? And now look at Ryan's life and career. And meanwhile, Brian, it's like, can somebody throw him a bone, please, and give him an opportunity? Not that he like is doing horribly. I don't know. I actually don't know. But I could imagine there's some storytelling to be had. Like, damn, I was on what would have been the biggest show, and then I only got one season. And then, you know, where do you go from there? There's got to be some frustration with that. And maybe that frustration and tenacity will make you really good in the mansion for Traitors season 3. You know, maybe he would be like, I've got an opportunity and this time I'm not going to let it go. So yeah, these are just a couple ideas. The show's better than I expected. I didn't expect to love it like I did. And like I said, it all comes back to Alan Cumming as the host. He is so fantastic, and Traitors Season 3 I think is going to be just as good as what it's become. Season 1 was good, Season 2 even better, but Season 3, they're going to, elevate it to the highest of heights. So we'll see. If you have anybody that you think would be good for the casting, I know I mentioned 10,000 people, so I think I mentioned a lot of different ideas, but go ahead and put who you think would be wonderful on the show. I don't know, Traitors Season 3. Maybe I'll go and be in the mansion in Scotland and, win all the money. We'll see.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.